you ever wondered how the integration of generative AI has changed the way architects approach design challenges? Let's explore how to unlock new dimensions of creativity, efficiency, and problem-solving capabilities. Please welcome the founder of Ben Gruber Architects, Mr. Ben Gruber. Give him a hand. Stage is yours.
Thank you, thank you. Hi, I'm Ben. I'm the founder of Ben Grubert Architects. And I would like to talk about generative artificial intelligence in the architecture design process today, what I call funkitecture, because we will see some funky examples. Maybe first a few words about me. I'm a Swedish-German architect and designer. I'm working in all kind of design fields, you could say. I'm 15 years in practice now, and I founded around about 5 years ago my studio here in Stockholm. I'm working with different projects in Germany, Sweden, and the States. But let's get started. I thought first we would talk about generative AI in general today, just a few words about it, and then I will walk you through different kind of projects I've been working on during the last years. And I tried to make this presentation quite a practical approach, since we are all colleagues here. So let's get started. What is generative AI? Generative AI is a form of artificial intelligence which can create new content, such as images, movies, text, music, and so on. And that's a big difference to the traditional AI, because the traditional AI can solve specific tasks with predefined rules. But now we have an AI, so-called AI Spring, when we have a form of AI which actually can generate and create new content, which is why it's so interesting for us creatives to work with that. I see it like we have three phases. Since my career started, I ran through three phases in architecture. First phase was manual sketching and hand drawing. The second phase were when CAD and BIM and all the fantastic parametric tools came. And now we are in the third phase, where we have all these great tools and can combine them with artificial intelligence to boost to make it even more effective and use it in a very creative way, those tools. Then I wanted to say a few words about prompt crafting. It's the way of text-to-image generation you can use with generative AI. You have three different types, or two different types of prompt crafting. You can use images. You can copy out the URL from any picture from the internet or from your own pictures, use them to generate new pictures. Or you have a second method where you actually have text prompts where you describe what to imagine or what you want to achieve or what outcome it should, or the result it should become. And then you have the parameters. Here, example from Midjourney, always at the end. And the parameters, I don't want to say so much about the parameters because there are quite a lot of them, but I think there are parameters like you can put certain weight on words, or you can play around with artistic interpretation. But for architecture, I think the most important parameter is actually the aspect ratio, because this is connected to the outcome, or the architectural volume outcome and typology. You see here 3 pictures. They are all generated with the same text prompt, but just by changing the aspect ratio, you get completely different geometries. So that's a way of controlling the geometry, because that is quite difficult if you use a text-to-image generator. So just keep that in mind. I think this is a very, very important parameter to use. Now I want to walk you through a couple of different projects I've been working on, completely from different fields, because I'm not only doing architecture, I'm doing also a lot of design projects. So the first projects I wanted to show are in the conceptual design phase, starting with a beach house in California. I was working on. I have one method or one approach when I'm doing, or the stages I'm going through in my design process. I'm often starting with very initial inspirational pictures. So I'm starting to go pretty wild in the prompt crafting and getting some inspirational arty pictures to investigate the design language I want to go for, or design materials and stuff like that to implement in the actual buildable design. So I don't see this as buildable design or architecture. I mean, we can't build it yet. But they are very inspirational and very important for the design process, I think. So turning those inspirational pictures into buildable architecture by using parts of the initial prompts I crafted for the initial design phase, and combining this with buildable architectural prompts, generating the same look and feel, having the inspirational pictures in mind, but using it for actual buildable architecture. Because I think this is so important to mention, because there's so many great images out there right now, especially social media, and architects and designers always say, but we can't build it. But I think it's just approach or how you develop those pictures into something buildable. The second project I wanted to show is the urban planning project in Nynäshamn, Stockholm, where we actually were working on a new master plan or development plan for a quite big area. And we got this brief from the politicians in Nynäshamn, and they had written down quite a set brief. They wanted to achieve this kind of garden city, and it helped a lot to visualize this brief and play around in the urban city or urban master planning scale. We could play around with the placement of the buildings very fast. We could play around with the green spaces in between, and then we worked together, the politicians and the architects, to take the next step in the vision for that area, and created this green garden city master plan, where we moved the buildings into the center of the plots and the green spaces around, almost hiding the traffic in the roads. So you have kind of a forest feeling there to live in. So it helps really also to visualize ideas for non-architects and non-designers in a very fast way. A completely different project I've been working on for a furniture company in Berlin, Germany. The idea was to use recycled plastic. So the inspirational picture or approach was actually the primary structure of a dragonfly and butterfly wing. And we turned those into using image prompts and prompt crafting into the first conceptual design pictures. And then again, you could say, of course, these are just images, but in the first stages, in the conceptual design, you need to find a design approach or design language you want to go for. And probably like 2 years ago, I would have sat down and scripted and modeled back and forth for days. And now I can generate, this is taken from Midjourney again, this design, conceptual designs in a very fast way. Midjourney by default generates always 4 pictures, in less than a minute. So you can imagine how much content you can create in a very short time. And then again, you can take this, of course, to the next step later on, but just to communicate with your client or colleagues, this is a very powerful and helpful tool, I think. Then again, a completely different project. This was a work together with a German graffiti and street artist. We started out the project with feeding an AI model with his color codes and form language and line work. He's a great artist. His name is Ohm in Germany. And then we combined those trained AI model with the architectural language of Grubert architecture, and the outcome was pretty funky, pretty odd, of course, but those kind of tasks help me to find and explore new ways or new design ways and new architectural ways. Or I'm starting to discover things and rethink how I'm designing or give form to things. This is a fantastic project. I think this was together with a musician from California. You see the design brief here, and to generate the prompt for this, I used actually ChatGPT, implementing the design brief into ChatGPT, having a conversation with ChatGPT, getting out a prompt again, putting it into a text-to-image generator, and generating a series of cover art. And we are also currently working on a completely AI-animated music video for Little Ashes, which will be great fun. So now we've seen some of the conceptual work in the early stages, but obviously the next stage would be to redefine the design language to get to the next phase or next stage. And again, I wanted to show a example from our work. Here, the water tower competition in Sweden or in Stockholm. You can use text-to-image generator as a reference generator, of course, but you can also use it to conceptualize in a very fast way. We had a very complex design brief in this competition, using ChatGPT again to get the prompt in the right direction with all the given parameters and so on. Taking this prompt then, this text from ChatGPT into a text-to-image generator again, tweaking the prompt in terms of we wanted to see different material, different shapes, of course, different geometries, different landscape design. And we could take out around about 160 images in less than an hour, all photorealistic, all well-designed. So we could channel the design approach we want to go for in that competition pretty fast. And this was, in total, maybe a half-day work, which is optimizing this process so immense, I think. I've been working for a couple of years at Zahadid Architects in the competition department, and we were always between 2 and 10 people, most of the time, to work on competitions. And the first 2 to 3 weeks, we were just modeling, remodeling, going back and forth, trying different things with the whole team. And then we had the design direction we wanted to go for. Now we can speed up that process in half a day and can take the next step. And you can even redefine or refine your design with endless iterations. That means you can pick one design you like and you can make endless iterations again. You can also just select parts of the building, of the landscape design, change just parts by using different prompts. So I think this is, for developing the design further, a very great step to take. Or you could actually, I was talking about image prompts at the beginning. Here you see a little picture of the site from the water tower competition. It was basically a forest. We have a lot of forest here in Sweden. So you could use this image, copying out the URL, having it combined with the text prompt, and actually creating architecture or design straight on site and testing things. And I think this is a very powerful way and tool to explore the different approaches. So I think this is since we are architects, we always have a site and site characteristics and dynamics we have to follow. This is a fantastic way to achieve photorealistic outcomes and test architecture on site. Now we've seen conceptual design and a bit of refinement of the design. but we still don't have really control about the geometry. Because if you use prompt or text-to-image generators, you don't really get control about the geometry, which is a big problem, of course, in terms of building regulations and so on, accessibility. So if you want to regain control, so I call it, you have to choose a different message to work. So in that case, I wanted to show a project we've been working on in Germany, apartment complex, and the investor decided pretty early it should be built in modules, in timber modules, so the geometry was 100% set. There was no way we could play around with the geometry or test different options in that way, because the building regulations and the modules gave the geometry, so it was 100% fixed. So in that case, I just used basically a volume model, fed the AI model with the volume model. The AI model can detect an outline of the geometry, of the given geometry, and makes sort of an outline map of that. Then you can change this image by using reference pictures, like if you want to have a certain material on the facade or stuff like that, and combine it also with prompts. That means you have 100% control about the geometry, and you can test very fast options. You can even change the geometry just by writing, I want to have bigger windows. And that's why it's, I think, so powerful on this stage, again, because without using the mouse, changing the geometry, changing the material, the whole appearance of the building, the function, and we were focusing here mainly on the ground floor, because the function was really set. It's a very great way to test and to keep the geometry, but test things and go further in the design process. That works also with massing studies, which is a pretty fast tool to test massings, different volumes on site again. You can use very simplified models. Here just some stacked volumes above each other and turn them in seconds into renderings. You can play around with the facades, you can play around with the volumes again, go back and forth. This is very great for communicating. I don't see it as a final render image, because I don't think it gets that quality like a real render studio would do. But it gives you a pretty clear idea what is possible and what you shouldn't do. And also in terms of communicating with your colleagues or with the client, it helps to speed up the process again. That works also with any object. You can use paper models, or in that case, the Lego tower of my daughter. So it works with anything you want to. You can turn it swiftly into visualizations. You can even make material iterations if you want to. This is a very, very intuitive way of designing, of course. Works also with line work. You can use, this is now a line work from a CAD software, but you can also use hand sketches. Again, works in the same way, detecting the outline of the geometry, making an outline map, and then you can use prompts to describe what you want to see, the landscape design, the material, and so on. And this works even with floor plans, turning into illustrations. And if you imagine you have an apartment building with 300 apartments, you want to visualize each apartment. This is a very great tool and way to do that. Now we've seen some projects, and I think what is also so fascinating for me is how much you can do in-house now without using so many external forces or people. So for presentation and communication, I wanted to just to show one quick example. This is the villa I've been working on for a Spanish musician. He wanted to have a house or a cottage, basically on an off-grid location here in Sweden. So I created again some images with a text-to-image generator, some external views, some interior views, even his new music studio. I could get pretty close to what he wanted, and even some landscape to show the beauty of the Swedish nature and the super wild animals we have here in Sweden. Then I took each of those images and used them for image to video animation, AI animation. You can use again the image as a base image, and then you write prompts to create the animation, and you can even control the camera path and speed and so on. So it's a pretty nice way, I think, to achieve quite good quality animations to give the client or investor or your colleagues a great idea about what the project should look like or what the project should be. So I animated each of those images and set them together to a short movie I wanted to show to you guys. And I think if you think about it, that this has been like a 4 or 5 hours workflow. I think it's the quality you can achieve or how far you can get in such a short time is just fascinating. But let's have a look about the short animation. So you see it's a fly through. The water is moving. You can even feel the mosquitoes on your skin, I think. So it's a great way to get a selling project, I think. The wind is moving. I'm right here where my voice His new music studio, the internal views. My fear goes up in flames. And I think this is a great way, if you think about it like a half day of work, to communicate and to present stuff. I think it gives you really, you can do it all in-house and gives your presentation a real boost. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Oh, we were just blown away from those pictures, actually. Do you have it like that every day?
Yes.
Yes.
And that's why it's so much fun also. I mean, if you're a creative mind, it triggers your mind all the time. I think I could sit for hours just generating images. Sometimes I'm getting lost, you have to be careful. But
yes, I understand. Ben, every speaker that we have here on stage are receiving a book. We talked about literature, how that inspires us, hopefully. And it's time for you to pick out a book in our little pile over there. There on the left side, you have books in Swedish.
Yeah.
On the right side, you have in English. Please pick out one, and I would like to see which one you pick.
All right.
Maybe it will be a Swedish book. Don't feel any pressure.
No.
I was thinking about that because at the end of the day, it will not be so much to choose between. But it seems that you got one there. What did you find?
Everything I Know About Love.
Wow. So nice. Sounds good. Give Ben a warm hand. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.